Okay, let's call to order here at 5:03 and get some introductions.
Scott Morley, Select Board.
Karen Keeman, Select Board.
Dan Webster, Select Board.
Matt Maxwell, Town Administrator.
David Barlow, Town Treasurer.
Chris Roy, reporter.
You guys. Do we have any changes for the agenda tonight or stuff people want to add? Public comments?
There's a bird looking at. I'm done.
Oh, Dave lost his mind.
No public comment, good. Okay, get right into it then. Agenda item number 4, implication of Article 11 in town meeting.
Doesn't matter, I guess. So the question, I guess, on that is, it's like tabled. We took the following tabled the Article 11, dealing with the $500,000 investment discussion. Dave and I talked about it some the other day. I don't know where you've gotten in your thinking now, David, on any of that, but do you have any, you got any guidance on it? What you'd like to see done with the 500,000?
Well, I sure would like to see it invested.
Yeah.
And we can kind of call it an audited number now because it's, you know, it's a draft audit. There isn't, that number is in the audit. as a
Okay,
Excess revenue number. So, I mean, that's good.
okay,
But anyway, that's what it's like.
Yeah. I think that's where that's kind of where I got to after talking with you more about it the other day, which is it's a lot of money. Matt and I talked about it a couple of times. So the mechanics of that, right? The mechanics are what the item was tabled at town meeting. Tabling means essentially it's not resolved that day and it's to be brought up at the next town meeting. The same article. So we've done some homework, we've gotten some information from the attorney, you guys have seen that, right? David and I have talked about it, Matt and I have talked about it, talked about it with Brian, so we're good to go. The question is, what's go? Do we want to wait? We can wait until next town meeting and let the money sit somewhere, or we could plan or schedule a special town meeting for that express purpose, so that we would be asking the voters to allow for that money to be invested long term. That's the question you got.
Seems to make sense to try to get it invested.
I think it's kind of where I am. It's kind of where David is. It's a lot of money.
And to be in a lower interest, whatever, wherever it's sitting,
Yeah.
whether it's,
Right.
Currently 4.1%,
Mhm.
which I don't anticipate is gonna change much.
Yeah.
Then again, it's, once you invest it, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So,
We know that.
over a long time, yes, it's gonna go.
Yes.
What was the article? I don't remember off the top of my head. I have to go back. Can you paraphrase?
You have it, Matt? I don't have that for some reason.
Does it do that on its own? I mean,
it's flopping around, it's switching around, depends on who's talking.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's new technology, man.
all right.
I don't have it in front of me, Chris, but essentially you did say paraphrase, so essentially the board had asked the town to vote on whether or not to invest $500,000 into the town's long-term investment portfolio. And that discussion ensued at town meeting and the item was tabled.
I'm gonna ask you, I know the answer, but I don't wanna ever assume. And for historical, in other words, it's not going back to the article, newspaper 1,500 years ago. This is from money the town's receiving from Casella.
Yes.
Where is the money now? Is it a separate account? Where is it now?
It is in the town's cash management account, which is at a brokerage firm called Fidelity Investment.
And if you put it in, Scott, if you put this in the investment, can you touch it? If you touch it, is there a penalty for early withdrawal? If you don't like the terms, is it gonna be a fixed rate, variable rate? Do you know any of those details, here tonight?
I do, but David might explain it better than I could.
So,
It's watching you.
Entertainment.
So the town investment, you're like, oh, you're gonna go my picture.
Maybe.
I didn't do my hair right. So the town investment fund is in a diversified portfolio. It's mostly index funds of various types, stocks and bonds. Some of it's in cash, very little, small percentage, but most of it is in stocks and bonds. Index fund stocks.
Okay, do you know the terms of the account, or is that determined when you open the account, if this goes through?
The account's already open.
Okay,
It's got 14 million.
no, but if you would, so, I'm sorry? Go ahead, I cut you off,
It already exists.
right? So you wanna put in another 500,000?
Typically each year at town meeting, the town votes on some new amount of money, new money that's extra money that the town has in its general fund that we then allocate for long-term investments each year. This year it was just a little bit clumsy and the item was tabled, and so we have to go through the technicality of going back before the voters to ask them, to vote yes or no to that. And typically, I think, I can't remember us ever not doing that, so I anticipate that will go into the account that's been established for, many years.
28.
Despite a perfect world, this wouldn't be so clumsy then as it is this year. I mean, isn't this something the town does every year?
Yes.
Then what's the problem this year?
Oh, poor communication,
Between whom?
me.
And
Between you and you and. No, between the communication between you two gentlemen, or what's that?
also at the meeting itself.
Yeah. So people just enough of me, they don't understand. I mean, I'm just trying to fix it in my head so I can write a clear article.
So it was a communication issue. And people, I think at town meeting, got a little bit confused and didn't want to do anything wrong. Good for them. And so the result of that, because it's a vast sum of money, they tabled the item. Instead of voting it yes or no and not wanting to do something wrong, they did the safe thing and table it, which is fine, absolutely fine, no harm, no foul. And so what the board is doing now is coming back, and we've talked with David, we worked with David and Matt and the rest of us, and we've all said, well, it's quite a sum of money. And the intention is to move that to long-term investments. And so we've took one step back and we've cleaned it up. And now we're talking about, when do you guys want to do that? Do you want to do it sooner than later? Do you want to wait till next town meeting? And it sounds like sooner than later. And so it would just simply be, if that's what we want to do as a group, let's establish the timeline on that. And we probably want to give that a 30-day, Matt?
Yeah, there's statutes on how we have to do that.
And you haven't done that detail review yet because you didn't know what we were gonna come up with probably.
Correct.
So you wanna do all of that work for next meeting and come to us with a proposal on when the town should do that as a special meeting sooner than later, I think is where we're at, right?
Yeah.
I feel like 30 or 40 days is.
I'm thinking so too.
So with that, the next question is the town truck.
Oh,
So if the money is stuck, if it doesn't come by June 30th, is that something we want to add to that special meeting? To say, hey, if the truck's not here,
Bad idea.
I've, minutes ago, sent an email to our auditor to ask him the prelude question to that, which is, what happens if that article that passed 2 town meetings ago, 24, that you're treating as, we're executing it in 25? What happens if we haven't paid for that truck and 26 comes around? Just get it straight from him.
okay, and you just barely did that?
Well, I've been trying to get him on the phone and that
Okay.
hasn't worked.
So
So I
good.
fired up the email.
so that could be something for
I
the
think-
meeting in
So
2
when you
weeks.
get that information, send it to Matt.
The other situation has caused me to rethink my thinking on this stuff, so I would say, if we, when we were an accrual based and if we had an assigned contract and an accrual based system, we would consider that money obligated and we probably would not have any question. We just would have set it aside because we've already got an obligation, but now, because we're in cash, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay,
Dealing
So-
with the cash system is different, so
so grab that information from him, share it with Matt as soon as you can and develop your guys' thinking on that for your proposal.
Got it.
And if we need to do both of them, we will. And if we don't, we won't. Good one.
it would be kind of a contingency.
Yeah,
So this was voted on 2023?
the truck,
Yes,
24 town meeting.
so last year.
Not this year, the year.
And the truck's not here yet, hasn't been paid for, what's the issue?
None of the above. Hasn't left the factory yet.
Is it built?
I don't know if they're building it.
Who knows? We don't
Let's
know.
not speculate on stuff we don't know the
Yeah.
answers to, Chris. We can't go off on tangents on every agenda item tonight. Gotta stick to what we're doing.
Well, no, but I know, but I gotta
and
ask.
that's actually not
The
the
truck ain't-
agenda,
the
not
truck's not
on the
yet.
agenda. anyway.
Right.
All right,
Appointment of town treasurer. So we did not appoint a treasurer at the last reorganization meeting, and after checking with VLCT and the Vermont Secretary of State, that is something that you need to do.
right, so we've learned some stuff there too, right, Matt?
Mhm.
I think we all have learned a little bit there, so, did you guys see that stuff?
Yeah.
Up to speed on it? So we are unique once again, well, there's probably a fair number of towns that do that now, so the select board appoints the treasurer, in this town. It's no longer voted on at town meeting. That can change again in the future, but that's the realities that we have today. And so the questions that we had were, and we didn't know the answers and we couldn't figure it out. What's the term? How is it redone? And so we've got clarity now, which is it's an annually appointed official. Well, not traditionally, but mechanically, we do that at our reorganization meeting
Yeah.
each year after town meeting with all of
All the other officials.
the appointed officials. And so because we didn't do that, we need to do that. And so David is, hopefully wanting to get appointed. Okay, that's that. Thank you, David.
I make a motion to appoint David Barlow as a town treasurer through reorganization in 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
I, before he changes his mind.
Thanks, Dave.
I think I told Don, you're free to
Yeah.
advertise it.
Nope.
Very good. Okay, so next up is the fiscal year 2024 town audit management letter.
Start us off on that one, Dave.
Well, this is the auditor, writing to the select board. Puts together a schedule of recommendations. That's what they are, recommendations. They're not must-do. You don't pass if you don't do it kind of stuff. It's just recommendations.
Do you have some that you suggest we do and others that don't matter? Because every town is different.
You know, that. I find it difficult to make a recommendation on that simply because a lot of these are, it would come off as self-serving, right? So a lot of these have a heavy impact on treasurer and the business processes that we do in the office, so. I've read through it, they're all fine. Some of them we've already done. One of them I think is not for me. I can talk about the investment one. He wants, in a cash basis system, he says investments are recorded at the historical cost. And I'm perplexed by that, but I think it would not serve the board or the town well to do that particular recommendation. You could, and you could have like a two-system thing where on the books, the investments are carried at what we paid for them, and we know what that is. And then in the reports that I'm handing out every month, we have what they're actually worth if you were to sell them right now. We could do it, that system if it was. We keep both parties happy.
So. I read this actually twice today to get it into my mind here a little bit. There's a lot going on there. Matt and I touched on it a little bit, and we talked about it before. David and I, though, we didn't talk about this specifically. We had some good conversation lately about all matters money, kind of, sort of. And we've been talking about some of this stuff for a while. For the last year, probably, right? We've talked about an accountant. We've talked about special fund, restricted funds. We've talked about a lot of the stuff that we see in here. We've been talking about, and that's not probably just by chance, right? It's because things have come across our table that we had questions about ourselves or we didn't feel was a perfect scenario. But I think for me, after reading this a couple of times, I think where I'm at is a no decision today. But I think that I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna read it about 10 more times. And I'm gonna rethink my thinking. And I'm gonna talk to Matt again, because he loves that. Probably talk to David again, because he loves it even more. But I think I'm at that spot where a lot of that stuff that we've been talking about, we gotta kind of see it for what it is, and we gotta make some decisions. Not getting into the weeds of this report. Like, we can go in there, we can talk about a policy, we can go in there and we can talk about an investment, and I agree with Dave, what he just said, you're absolutely right about that, on the investment piece of it. But you can get into each one of those, and we can identify a corrective action for a little specific slice of that pie. But what have we actually accomplished for the town? Finance, overarching policies, right? Probably not a lot. I think we have to have a system review. All matters money. What are we doing? How do we do what we do? Why do we do what we do? Are we doing it the way we want to do it? Just because previous boards did it that way, do we want to do it that way? Do we understand what we're doing? Does Matt's piece fit? Does Deb's piece fit? Does David's piece fit? For what we think this means. And if we're talking about things that are a bit lofty, like accountants, everything here changes. Essentially, who's doing what and why you do what you do. And so I think that's the conversation really has to be put up front first. And haven't known yet for quite a while on how we should do that. Because it's not like we can just pick up the phone and talk to each other, right? So we always have to do our business here. And we don't like executive sessions, and so we're trying to do everything as openly as we can and talking through it, but that's a real tough one. If we're going to adjust that big moving mountain. I don't think you could do it here. Because I think you have to really get down in the mud a little bit and hash your way through it. And I think that's where I'm at. I think that's where I'm at. And so I think it's almost like the executive function of the town, the managers, and that's who they're talking to here, right? You read all that language, it's like your decision. You have to make those decisions. We gotta listen to Dave, we gotta listen to Matt, we gotta listen to Deb, because they're the players in a lot of that stuff. But it's our job at the end of the day to say, we don't wanna do it that way, or we do wanna do it that way, and we gotta listen to a lot of different people. So how do you do that? I think it's almost like the town meeting thing for me. I think I'm there, like, we have to not do it in a select board meeting. We have to call a meeting. We probably have to do it in an executive session. We have to include Matt. And we probably have to bring in Brian and spend money again to flush it out and talk about, get some education from him, get some education from whoever else we think should be there at the executive management thinking. And then understand what we want or what we don't want, or we don't want to make any changes. We want to just go and do these and let things kind of be the way they are. And then we can come back and bring the treasurer in and bring the bookkeeper in and start the pieces moving. To pick at it a little bit, and a little bit isn't going to correct or change your system of accounting. If that makes any sense.
That was a lot for me. There's a lot here.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely want to talk through it. That all sounds good to me.
It can quickly get overwhelming. I mean, we don't do this. David does it. He
Mhm.
knows it. He gets it. He's helped create a lot of what works. What, we get things done here. But if we're going to have that next level of discussion about an accountant, if we're gonna have the next conversation about a lot of the things that you're reading in here, that he's identifying and causing you to think about, those are management decisions. Those aren't specifically treasurer questions or Matt questions. It's your question. And I think cautiously, we should make sure we know what it is that means, what it's asking us for. And all here at the same time, in the same place, from the same people, so we all get on the same page. And then take the next step and start bringing those other folks in, the specific people in, talk about, what it is that we've decided to do. I think is where I'm at. If we just keep flushing it out here, we're never gonna do it.
Mhm.
Would require another meeting.
That's the only way I'm gonna make more sense of it.
So if you guys are willing to do that, I think the challenge would be, I'm gonna read this thing like, how fast could we do that? I don't know what everybody's schedules are. You wanna just add another Monday? We
That's
probably
fine.
should, I mean, I want Brian to be there. I want him to help us. This is what you do, you know, that discussion. This is what roles and responsibilities. You keep hearing me say that, you know, here's the roles and responsibilities of this table. Here's the roles and responsibility of the treasurer. Here's the roles and responsibility of Matt. And then how does that all fit together, and whether you're doing or not doing, you know, are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? Or are we a little bit out of tune? Maybe we're not, maybe we're good, but I think we need to have that conversation. So I'm happy on most Mondays, but I probably should reach out to Brian and see what his, and would you want to keep the same time, right?
That's fine.
Yep.
To 5 o'clock for an hour or two, and it would be the only agenda item. It would be an executive session. I'm sure. We could talk to Brian about that. And how that,
What would be the reason for the executive session?
well, everything I just said times
Just
100,
a legal
yeah,
discussion.
you know, there's a lot of moving parts there, and, I can have that discussion with him, and then we can bring it back, or you can help organize some dates, and you guys are up for that.
Mhm.
Sure.
But I think this is really good. This is a lot better than last year's. Give us a lot more to talk about.
Several pages more.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it seems like they went a little bit more into that macro management. Yes,
May I have a copy of the audit report?
no. Gotcha. What's that?
Typically, the letter you don't is considered only for the board.
The audit itself, you've
That
got,
doesn't mean
right?
you can't
Yeah.
release it.
Yeah.
The audit is
Yeah.
usually released.
Well, yeah, because I'll challenge that, the audit is a public document, because it's on
At
the table.
this point, the audit is not in draft.
I understand that, but it's still a public document.
You're so hard on us, Chris. Yeah, we'll take care of you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Town of Coventry, long-term investment. Dot and I, a couple of weeks ago, met with a couple places, one in Burlington, one in Montpelier.
And David,
And David was there, electronically. The stuff's on the table. You don't have to make any kind of decision tonight. I think we told them 60 days when we met with them, so this is just us bringing you guys up to speed, I suppose. I thought they were both very good places and did a good job.
What do we pay right now? Do you know?
It's, I do know. 14,000 a year,
But is it, these are
but then there's some other costs.
in here, that's like 0.43 and 0.50%
That's of the whole.
Yes,
So we're paying a fee-based structure right now. It's fixed, no matter what the portfolio size is, it's that amount. A percentage is a percentage of the portfolio itself, so.
so what would
the numbers are higher.
0.5% be of the current portfolio? What is it, like
Challenge my math
14
here, but
million?
it's, you know, half of
about
14,
70,000.
70,000.
So that's a big difference.
Well, you know, in an order of magnitude, it's not a huge difference
Mhm.
currently. Where it would start to be more of a problem is if it was let's say it's a $28 million portfolio in 5 years, which I hope in 5, 6, 7 years, it's gonna double, hopefully. A percentage-based fee structure is gonna
Yep,
be pretty significant number. Doesn't mean that a fee-based guy like we have now is just fixed. We have slightly ratcheted up over the years.
Mhm.
Depends on
I
how
guess
much
it
more you
wasn't-
get. I
It
mean,
wasn't really my primary, once they talked through
Mhm.
their assessment, they each had their own assessment of what we're paying now and what they're charging.
Mhm.
I would say it's not a huge driver for me.
Mhm.
It's the difference in the way they're invested.
Right. Did you like one better than the other?
Um, I guess I would say that they're both proposing an active investment style. Where the town would, they would pick stocks and bonds for the town to buy, individual stocks and bonds. And that's, a very different style than what we have now, where we simply buy index funds, index mutual funds. So we're buying essentially the whole market in one area, the whole US stock market essentially, and then the whole US bond market through different index funds. Very diversified. And by that same token, we're expecting our performance is gonna mirror the market. And it does. Not surprising. An active investment style is, over a long period, has proven to be more risky. Active investors don't normally beat the market in the long term, but when the market beats them.
And what do we,
Is it more of a wheeling and dealing kind of people that are like, buying and selling all the time? Is that what? That active,
That's what active, that's a version of active investing. I can't really speak to these two groups as to how hyper they are in terms of portfolio turnover.
you guys have one over the other, or it's definitely not
But
not my thing, investment.
no,
I come back to what Scott was emphasizing with both
Yep.
of them, which is this public money.
Mhm.
You're investing public money. So in my mind, and I'm not defending our current arrangement. It has some issues. Yeah, but one of its issues is not the style of investment. It's just a very conservative, and yet over a very long time has been shown to produce the best results.
I'm drawn to that type of investing.
It is
For long term.
for
Yeah.
long term.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's. It seems the appropriate thing for public money. Now, what we don't know is, will either of these groups support that type of investment? We haven't gone back to them and asked them. What are they flexible? Right? Don't know the answer.
And were these
Because
guys,
even our guy now is, I'm pretty sure when he's dealing with his other clients, he's an active investor kind of guy. Just, my instinct tells me, but, we're his client that's not.
What are you gonna say?
I don't remember now.
Sorry.
Go
Oh,
on,
you're fine.
go on.
You're fine. Oh, contracts. Are we under contract right now that's due to expire? I don't recall. And are these guys like a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year?
we have a contract with investors. When we're now,
Right.
we didn't, and we had them give us one.
I'd say we have an at-will agreement, I think, is my read of it.
Yeah. Yeah, we freshened that up last year. So a couple of things, we're not anywhere close, I don't think, to making a decision on this. This is a big deal.
Mhm.
Matt did a really good job at finding a couple of firms who he felt we should sit down and ask a bunch of questions to. And you did a great job, Matt. Both of these companies are very successful, very professional, Vermont local based. One's in Burlington, one's in Montpelier. Going to the question of expenses, one of them, I was just trying to find it, it's in there, but it's really not perfect either. Westview did a good job at, we had given them our current portfolio. And they showed us what that actually is costing, right? So it's $14,000 we pay to a fee, but we're paying, it's almost, it's the same. because you're paying fees for those funds that were in. So the cost to the town of one or three or all,
Similar.
they're, yeah, overall costs.
Mhm.
It's done a little differently. So that's one thing. The second one, the second thing was, why are we even here in the first place, right? Why are we even having a conversation? I think the primary driver has been because we don't have any planning. We heard that a lot at town meeting this year, right? Heard it. We hear it every year. We've been after it for a long time and we still haven't been successful as a management team creating the plan. And I don't want to be the person that creates the plan. I don't want David to be the person that creates the plan. We want a professional organization to create the plan for, just like it's our retirement account. Right now, we're putting money in it. That's great. Every year we do that. But we don't know what the goal is, right? I don't know what the goal is. I think David's got a good idea of it, and I think everybody that I kind of talked to has that $60 million-ish figure. That's a long ways from 14. And so I don't think you're gonna get there. Unless we, because we spend money, right? We're spending money every town meeting. We buy tar, we buy trucks, we buy garages, we send it to the town foundation. We don't put it in here. So you're gonna pay taxes. So what we've been challenging ourselves, we've done a good job challenging ourselves. We haven't done a good job at actually effectuating it and fixing it, is to create the plan from a professional standpoint on what the town needs for invested funds using the 22 years, because that's what currently we think is the amount of time we're going to continue to receive landfill funds. How do we get from 14 million to 60 million, or whatever the number is? How do we get there? You have to have the plan so that every town meeting, we know how much we have to first put into that long-term investment to achieve that number. Then we'll talk about the other fun stuff. I don't know if it's super fair to say that the current CAD amount hasn't helped us there, but I mean, the result is we haven't got it done. So whether we stay where we are and we force that issue, or we stay where we are and we find somebody else to do that issue, is sort of all the mix of the thinking here, right?
Yeah.
Which is, we're not gonna go out and just give all of the town's money to somebody that we don't think is gonna be A1. We have to do that. But
Do these, we kind of talked about this at another meeting, do these people, do they do that? Is that?
Yeah.
Figure all that out?
well, I think Westview was the choice on that one, you know, think.
They're my choice for everything.
If you had to, I think if I had to make a pick on who was the planner, it would be that company. I would say over the other two. I mean, it's their thing. They talked about it a lot. They understood that. I mean, they're retirement planning people.
Yeah.
But before any decisions would be made, I think we have to go back to that table, bring David back in there, write down a bunch of questions we don't want to lose track of, like flexibility on how they're investing or not, and we should probably get input from other professionals like state treasurer's office and big people to hear thoughts and opinions. I mean, we're very unique. Most towns don't have this problem. And so we've got to make some decisions so that 22 years from now, people thank you and not the other. So, what do you do now, Matt?
Make the next appointment with, for a few weeks, come up with some
So
questions.
if we were to make any change, there won't be any change before they're here meeting with everybody.
Yeah.
Right,
But if, intermediate steps even, a second cut with just this group or.
That's what I was
Or some,
saying, maybe decide on one between the two and then have them come for a meeting.
decide on one of the two of those and
Yeah.
then you're down to two instead
Then
of
you're down
three.
to- Then you're down to one of those two ones plus Catamount.
And then drill into some of those questions that people are asking. Yeah, I mean,
You two were with one, and we didn't meet with any of them, so.
that's a lot of pressure.
It only makes sense to go, there was a Westwood, West.
You don't have to
Must
do it.
be-
Beauty.
Do those documents.
I was gonna say, you could even have one of them come here and, if you decide you decide you want the other one, then you have them come.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, I think, we have kind of like a set of questions in my mind for whoever the new group, the recent interviews. The different set of questions for the existing manager that are more focused on, okay, now that you're part of this, this firm has joined a larger firm. So now that you're in this larger firm, what additional capabilities, and oh, by the way, we really want this retirement fund planning, for lack of a better description at this point. What do you got to offer? He's already doing kind of the conservative index fund investment for us, but not producing on the planning side. Set of planning questions to him, and
I like that.
Yeah,
investing the questions to the other group. And there may be some for both that are just pointed questions. See what you get.
Can you two do that?
Mm-hmm.
You two create the list of questions. Shoot it within like the next week or so, for each company.
Mhm.
And then we figure out how to do that, how, who's asking them and how we go about that. But I think David's got a good point on that. I think that's smart. Yeah. So Catamount is still named Catamount?
I believe that's true.
Okay. So he's working, how's that work?
He's joined a larger company that's in Burlington, whose name is escaping me at the moment. Will pop. He's part of that. There's a legal term that describes it, but he's essentially
But he's kept the Catamount.
kept his own name.
Name.
His doing business name is DBA name, doing business as Catamount, but he's really part of this
Gotcha.
other group that begins with an S. It's not going to find it.
Okay. All right, so let's slow into this one. This is a big one.
Mhm.
So you guys try to craft those questions, Matt, to at least give us some guidance. We'll keep it going, but have you guys, did you get all these?
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Number 8.
Mhm.
Emergency Management Director, upcoming vacancy.
I was last meeting all lecture.
So that's on here because Phil told us he doesn't want to play anymore.
Correct.
And That scared me, probably everybody else, because of all of the things that he has to do. And he was gracious enough with his time to give us plenty of time, but we gotta take the next step, which is advertise it. Start that slog. So we're looking for a town member, resident. So we should advertise that way, I would think, and not through the paper. but-
Postcards to everybody or
Yeah,
a letter to everybody?
like we've done in the past. And target just us, just our people. And it's probably cheaper, isn't it? Newport's terrible expensive.
Is that a quote?
No. So
It's.
you
Good
gotta build
start.
it.
Yep, well,
What does that cost us? Do you know? Do you have any, remember?
I can't remember what it.
Deb's not here with us. Where's
No,
Deb?
she's
Gone.
not. She's at a
The
training.
last, well, we did postcards for the special town meeting we did last year. Just did it a year when Carrie and Scott had to do the runoff.
That was a postcard.
That was a
Yeah.
postcard.
That was cheap. It's a few $100 probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no.
So,
Not the only way we can do it anyway.
so can you work with Phil? Are you gotta put something on there, like, more than
Yeah,
just,
it'll have to be a brief description of sort of, you know, I mean, I can't put everything on there.
No,
It
but-
would take 2 pages to describe everything.
there's
he
gotta
does. Yeah.
be,
You just need a brief.
you can do front and back, right?
no, mailing
It's just
label.
front, it's just one
Yeah, I
side.
mean, you're talking a couple sentences
Yeah.
max.
You can do a bigger postcard.
Right, but I can put a link on there, which would go to the full,
True.
beautiful.
Description.
go to the full, you know,
Yeah.
what the full job is.
So you're gonna have to put the position vacancy, you're gonna have to put the due date
Yeah.
for reply back to you. You're gonna have to put something that makes people understand
What we're
what
asking.
that means just at the first quick, which Phil can help you with 2 or 3 or 4 bullets,
Mhm.
bullet point stuff, and then the link.
Like, or a web address to where they can find the
Yeah.
full job description.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Send it to everybody in town.
Mhm.
And so Phil, make it happen.
What does somebody have to know? Anything? It's on the job training, it's,
Lots.
yeah, I know, it's a lot of stuff that you do.
Being in emergency or first responder would be helpful because you have an idea, you have ICS training, which is a big part of it.
Mhm.
But that can be hard to find.
Mhm.
So it can be on the job because the state, you and I did that seminar. There's also the 8-hour D&D course. There's also a full EMD certification. There's conferences. You can do the ICS courses online or in person. There's a lot. But it's not like book, read chapter 1, 2, 3. It's just like I told Scott, I'm not gonna go anywhere. I'll be here to.
Mhm. But is there like scenarios, okay, there's flooding, you know, when you contacted, like,
That's like
You know.
that's more of a process that
mhm,
we have and written up with this last week is. When I saw the jam down here, it was. We have a state emergency management rep, we have Bruce Melinda, who's the NVDA emergency management rep. And then all I did with that was I put an email out to all of them with PD on it, because PD is who we do the VT alert through. And I put all the others on saying this is just for information, because that goes to the State Emergency Operations Center.
mhm.
And PD sent the alert out, and then I got calls from the EM watch officer and National Weather Service, and I'm not sure who else I got, but you get
Phones.
EM involved, they pull all their resources and see what if you need anything, what they can give. Weather service was a big one because they knew it was ice jam and they were able to put out a flood warning for the area too, so.
Mhm.
Luckily, we didn't need it. It looked like it was gonna be worse than it did. But
Okay, no handbook.
It's a lot of
yeah,
experience.
It
Yes.
is, it's
Yeah.
a lot of just experience and. I had the fire department background, so it helped, but I didn't necessarily need it.
Trying to find that on here. I had that once, remember when we,
The email,
well, what she's looking for.
Oh.
I can find it for you, Gary. Send it to you
even,
guys.
even the statute and the emergency management site. It's a very short
Mhm.
blurb of what the emergency management director is.
Right.
But I'm gonna email our emergency management rep first and put them all in and just let them know what's going on and then ask them to say, hey, I'm sure this has been around somewhere in the state. What do you, or how have you seen people handle
Mhm.
advertising and finding? So.
Okay.
It's there's a lot of support out there and resources to reach out.
Yeah,
Just have to know where to look.
that's pretty good, Phil. I mean, yeah, I agree with Phil on that. The experience, you can't overstate that. It's not an ice jam, it's emergencies. And how you manage through any barriers that are in front of you. And having the knowledge of how to respond and react and coordinate and communicate and not panic and save the day through other people. It's kind of what you're talking about when it's go time. But
Mhm.
there's 95% of the work isn't when it's go time, it's planning and it's training and it's, getting folks to, help you with the shelters and, working with all of Matt and everybody else so that when that happens, it's a lot smoother and you're not chasing around.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out. But Phil goes even way beyond that for us and helps us with, fire hydrants and the list is endless.
Mhm.
So. If you would just get with Matt and help put your blessing on that card and this week it's gotta go. We gotta get it moving. So Phil's sometimes hard to corner.
Mhm.
Paving contract, 2025. Hudson sent over something for you guys to sign.
You must be in the middle.
So,
I don't think we have that.
I might have my copy I printed.
I don't have it. I've seen it, but I don't have it.
Here you go. And that one.
Let's see.
So this is, everything we've talked about, 700,000 and change.
what do you got approved?
The road, the permits are in there for the railroad
The
crossing.
road crossings and the flaggers, and
So we just signing on it?
I think just one of you needs to sign.
Let's do all of us like we always do.
Can we sign it anywhere? Yeah.
Well, I think he's got a spot on that second page, Ian.
So we didn't put a start date on that one, but we do have the conclusion by date.
Mhm, September something.
Same as we did last.
Quote includes railroad flaggers and railroad insurance.
You want today's date, man?
Yeah. and somebody make a motion to.
What is the date there?
24th.
24th.
Mhm. Okay, guys need a motion on that.
Motion to accept Hutchins Incorporated paving bid for $700,823.
Second.
All in favor?
I mean,
Aye.
All right, NEK broadband support letter.
and that's just trying to get the
It's not, is it not in the middle?
grant money or something.
Right, no, right there.
This is, oh yes, this is it. Yep. So it's to get grant money.
Yeah, it's you supporting them to apply for a grant, that's what it is.
I read it the other day when you sent it to us and I supported it by reading it.
Right,
Unless
this
you-
came from the town NEK broadband official that you guys appointed. You
Right.
guys- Charles Collins sent us. this.
Charles sent that along, so.
Yeah, he's appreciated you
Yes.
put your support behind it.
Yes. I mean, do we have to discuss it? You guys have read it, there's,
I haven't, I kind of know what it's about. It's what they're putting up, and I've talked to him about it a little bit.
so they need additional funding, right, Matt? And they're looking continuously for grants,
As we all are.
as we all are, so that's one of the mechanisms showing there's town's support for that purpose, for the state to be able to look at that and say, oh, we're supported in that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think Charles done a great job
I think he does too.
for us, so.
So good, I'm gonna.
I said not to
use this letter to help with serving.
There you go,
Not that the former guy didn't do a great
No.
job. Charles is doing a good job.
absolutely, yeah. All right, so when you motion that.
Yeah, let's have a motion since you signed it.
Motion to approve the broadband equity access support letter from Charles Con.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You get this.
Now we're moving.
Okay, broadband. All right, liquor license renewal for Martha's Diner.
I don't, this one's just the animal. No, we have it, yeah.
There's
Yes.
no document for this.
Oh, okay.
You're just gonna.
It's just an annual
you're gonna-
update.
Yeah, you're gonna make a motion.
Oh, then I think Deb goes online or something
Yeah,
and,
Deb takes it from there, and she needs you guys to make a motion, and she needs to have it in the minutes,
It hasn't been sold, it's still the same,
as far as I know.
yeah, we're
yeah,
just,
just an
we're
annual
just doing this for an
license.
annual
This is,
license.
yeah, they sent in a, thing to Deb asking, yeah, they need your.
What license is it?
Liquor,
Liquor.
No, I understand, but, beer and wine, is it, I don't know if they sell alcohol, do they?
no, they just sell beer there.
Does beer and wine go together in the same license, do you know?
I don't know.
Deb would know, Chris.
Sorry.
I didn't
No,
realize
it's fine, she knows, because she does all those, for all the liquor people in town, so, I mean, just call her up on Thursday, she'll answer that.
Any good with it?
Yeah, I just was thinking about if we should say as it is, update the motion might say. We approve the liquor license as it is, as it was in the previous year.
Any of them, it must be there is differences,
I
because
think
we've
there is.
always just done,
Oh, we went through it with a store up here a little while ago, remember?
but it was just a liquor license, it wasn't like a different category
Because
or
then they-
anything,
They
it's
want to
just,
sell vaping products.
Right.
yeah.
But
So
it's
that was an
through the
add-on.
same-
Right.
Yeah, so that's probably good language to put in there. Whoever's gonna make that motion.
Okay, motion to approve the liquor license renewal for Martha's Diner as it is,
as it was last year.
as it was last year for 2025, for the year 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye. Right?
It's,
This is what you-
it's mirrored a lot on the dog and wolf hybrid, like, you know, for the fines and the penalties and the first offense and second offense and.
Okay, so so that's a draft domestic animal ordinance. We talked about this in the last meeting. You guys wanted to see a copy of what the town's proposing, so you could look it over. The next step will be, it'll go to Brian Monahan, and then it'll come back to you guys for final approval, once Brian's read through it and he might have some suggestions, and then after that, I will post it and do my thing with it. But this is the first step. This gets it to Brian. I read through that. I thought, I don't know who did it, Renee, Deb, I thought they did a good job. It covers everything. It's got, it's got your penalties in there and your disciplinary actions and stuff like that. I think it's covered pretty good. So.
So it was the same, it was like what we did with the dogs, you and the three of them. So thank you, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
They did a lot of work.
So you combed through it, Matt, and nothing jumped out to you that,
Nothing jumped out to me, but it's, be nice to get some lawyerly eyes on it.
Yeah.
But it read like the second version of the dog ordinance. Remember the first dog ordinance, Brian said it was lacking some teeth.
Yeah.
I don't think this lacks any teeth.
okay. So, we don't need any voting on this one then, if
I
we're just
don't,
gonna
I
send
don't
it
believe
along.
so. You just sort of,
We'll put it back to you
yeah,
then and say, thank you.
Yeah,
Send
we're
it to
gonna
Brian.
move it on to the town attorney and let
Yeah.
him review it.
And that was a town meeting issue too,
Mhm.
so that's,
It was.
we're fast.
And this is something that I think the residents would like to see.
Yeah.
As quickly as we can get it done.
All right, so can you express that?
I will express that,
That it
but
was,
I might need somebody else to express it too.
okay, well, I think that's important because it was town meeting.
It was.
This wasn't something that just
No.
generically has come to us. This is a. Yeah. Right, you-
That was me.
Must have been my phone.
I think, yeah.
Okay, what do we have anything under other business tonight? Okay, go look at your minutes then.
There was a few, like, I don't know what, typo grammar type of thing. But
Dave
the,
Barlow's supposed to catch those for you.
but the bulk of it is, my name's spelled wrong in the first one,
Come on. Is it?
Kerr.
See you, Phil, thank you.
Oh,
Must have been exploring my.
Number 4. Number 8. I think that might be it. Oh. Like up here's a word missing, but the gist of it is all fantastic of what happened at the meeting.
Scott's still reading over there.
I'm good. I'm good if you guys are good.
Mhm.
Motion to accept the minutes for the select board meeting for the town of Coventry, Monday, March 10th, 2025, as presented.
With one, fix my name in number 4, just
With-
kidding. Second.
No, you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
Yeah, just for, the record, you can get her done. All in favor?
Hi.
All right. I would lean on Gary for that. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah,
She actually reads stuff.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and there's a folder full of warrants up there.
Oh, that's you. This is me.
Deb's usually here to caution us about stuff, but
Mhm.
she didn't. There was nothing unique. We didn't get a special, we did.
No, I mean, she wanted to talk to you about something, but she's
She's at a training.
she's at a thing, she didn't know if she was gonna be able to get away and do it, but I know she wanted to mention that the $100 receipt again to you.
Oh, wow, okay.
She
So we-
did wanna talk about that, but she couldn't get away. She said she was gonna try, but.
Yeah, I had a question on one of them too, but I'll go right to the person.
So. The tax sale matters there, Monty, and Dave and I talked about this. We need to get this in a meeting, right, Dave? Don't you think we ought to be discussing now, if we're gonna have some tax sales this summer, some of the thoughts and opinions that you and I shared the other day?
Yeah, there's the, do you do it or not, plus the how do you do it?
Yeah. So, and I'm reminded here, because we're still paying
Yeah, I wondered
a
why.
bill for that.
Well, and part of that bill was regarding the BCA decision, which was the head scratcher to me, because what more was there to discuss? I don't know, it's a bit of a mystery.
All right, well, one of the things that Dave and I talked about, just because of the bill pay there, is, I think we need to have a better discussion if we're gonna do tax sales this year. About some of those concerns, we'll have to talk with Kate and get her to come in and have a conversation about that, I guess. So maybe, are you like booking out already next 2 weeks from now, Matt?
Yeah, but there's
Is it
some
too-
there's some spots available,
I think we should do it sooner than later if we're gonna, because we had a
so.
whoop-de-doo last year with
Yeah.
that
But tax-
trailer, and David's brought some good points up, and it cost us a lot of money to
So
do
we're gonna
these.
put town tax sales on the next agenda.
I think we probably should, and it could be one of those, if you get too crammed, you could maybe bump it down, but if we can get it in and let Kate know. When do we do that? What, do we have a month that we generally do? May? Oh, yeah, next meeting then. Okay.
Make a motion to accept the warrants as presented.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
right?
Very good. Now somebody can.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
This thing, I mean, I'm not very technically advanced, but
I can't see it.
It's all over the place.